Good morning, it's Susan at Seaside Stitches and this is my first Friday sews, hashtag Friday sews. And the first thing I want to do is to thank Jen from Jen's Sewing Room, who set up this wonderful hashtag, wonderful community that is reached by using the hashtag Friday sews. I'm in a slightly different position. Good morning, I am Susan at Seaside Stitches and welcome to my channel. And yes, this is my very first Friday sews. I'm an independent sewist. I'm not an ambassador for anyone. I'm not an affiliate for anyone. I try to buy local as much as I can, support my local fabric shops and mostly in person if I can, when I can, but occasionally I also do buy things online. I'm very fortunate that here on the Fylde coast, which I'm near Blackpool, I'm near Cleveland, in Lancashire, in the northwest of England. I've got Fleetwood's fabrics at Fleetwood store. I've got So Hot, which is mainly quilting cottons, amazing array of quilting cottons. At one point I'm going to do a video of that. I've been in and spoken to them about maybe doing a video about their store because it's just immense. It covers 4 shops down underneath it, and but it is stacked full of all sorts of named and unnamed wonderfulness of quilting cottons. And although I don't specifically quilt, some of the fabrics are just awesome. And they also carry by Annie products, so I'm a bit of a... Somehow I can't get started on this video. It feels really formal just not being me, so I'm just going to be me. Okay. Right, so I think I'll start with what I'm wearing. Just to introduce myself, I normally do garments. This is a Sinclair pattern. Now I love Sinclair patterns because one of my very first projects when I got back into sewing during the pandemic was making a Harper cardigan, and I'd never used a PDF pattern before. It's years and years since I'd sewn before that, and so it was just the big 4 patterns that I was aware of and quite happily aware of and used before that. But now because the Sinclair pattern, I saw it on someone's video and I thought, the Sinclair Harper cardigan pattern I saw on someone's video and I thought, I think I could make that. And I bought some of that cable knit jersey, and I do 3 or 4 videos about how I'm starting it, what I like about it, how did it go together, and I've now made 5. I just really like them. But I also think that Sinclair patterns deserve not just my custom for their free patterns. I love their patterns now I've got into them because I'm quite tall in the body. I've got a long torso. I'm just short of 5'7", and I've got a long body and I'm low busted. So their patterns are drafted for someone who has a long body. With their patterns come the option to have the tall version, and everything is in proportion for a taller person, things in proportion for a regular sized person and a short person. So they're all separate patterns. You get the option of all 3 when you pay for the pattern, and you can chop and change if you're making them for someone else, but I choose the tall version. And this is called the Linnea or Linnea sweatshirt, and you have the option to colour block it in any way you want. I did have, and they provide you with that so that you can draw out what kind of patterns you want on it. There are loads on their website, all different variations, and I only put this together about 3 weeks ago. Didn't take me very long once I'd worked out what I wanted, and I've also made another one, and I have enough fabric to make another one because I bought 3 separate meters of sweatshirting. It wasn't quite as thick as I'd expected it to be because I've got this, I need to be warm, and my focus from January 23, my focus is about staying warm. Today it is milder than it's been, although I do have my heating on at the moment because I work from home and I was working downstairs with a client, and so I get the privilege of having my heating on. But otherwise I've got a blanket on, about 2 skirts on top of each other, a jumper, a cardi layered up, and a blanket over my knees for the draft. So in this time of this cost of living crisis that we're going through, we've just got to be mindful of saving money where we can, so that there's still enough to sew. But anyway, every purchase has got to be really considered, as it should have been before, but even more so now. So I thought if I got 3 separate meters of the sweatshirting in different colours, and at this point I bought that from Minerva. Now Minerva is an online store. When I first got back into sewing, I thought, I knew that there'd been a Minerva Crafts in Darwin in Lancashire, which is not very far from us, about 40 minutes or so. And actually my husband's family are from Darwin, so I count that as local too. We went one morning, think we'll have a run out and see what Darwin looks like these days. Only we hadn't realised that for 3 or 4 years before that they'd shut the shop, and it was just the warehouse where they process all their orders and get them out to us. So it is only online, but you can get samples from them and everything, and they are a huge community kind of based, family run organisation. And I'm not putting in an advert for them, because I think they're really well known, and they have lots of the sewing community are ambassadors for them, or they put posts up about what they've made in relation to the fabric. And it's quite an interesting kind of model of selling and community involvement. So anyway, let's get back to, so I sent for a royal blue, a bright red, and a turquoise, which might be on the back. No, there it is, and possibly on the back. So have I got a black turquoise on this one? I don't know. Anyway, I don't know which one I've got on. Yes. So I've got 3. I've got the red, the blue, and the turquoise. And then I've chopped and changed. I've made another one, and then I'm going to make another one from what's left. So to me, that's really good. It's trying to keep everything in a kind of capsule way, so that I can team it with similar things, and I don't have to have too wide a variation of colours and choices in my wardrobe. I wasn't quite trusting that there was enough stretch in it to do the neckband, so I used these scraps from a dress I made, the Westcliff dress that I made from Friday Pattern Company. So this is what I'm like. I just go blah, blah, blah. So at this point, I'm not really going to be talking about each individual thing that I've made, but this has been, it was a dream to sew. It went together very quickly, but the issues for me are usually the fitting. And so the day after, I was moving this about and that about, and I've got a sway back. I hadn't thought about that, and making an adjustment for the sway back. So I've got quite a bit of puffiness here, but that's fine. It's a sweatshirt, and I'm going to work on that and see how I can alter that. And I think that's really what I like about sewing. It's become a thing that it engages my brain. I love bright colours. You very, very rarely see me in, if you see me in pale grey, or you see me in beige or taupe, then I'm not well at all. So please send for an ambulance. I just love bright colours. That is who I am. Well, as you can see from around me. My sewing area was downstairs as part of a bedroom and a spare room and a dining room and whatever. But we had to move this was our main bedroom, but we had to move our bedroom downstairs. We have a cat with dementia. She had started losing her way, didn't know what she was doing, where she was. She's got arthritis, we believe, and she was finding it difficult getting up and downstairs. And it's quite a drafty room, this, as a bedroom, but a lot of things were in the mix, and we decided that we would move our bedroom downstairs. So we're in a dormer bungalow, so that's quite a normal thing in a bungalow, that there's one room is allocated as a bedroom, and on the paperwork it is meant to be the 3rd bedroom. So there are 2 in the loft, in the roof space, which is this, and there's 1 downstairs. So we have that, and it's really nice because we can now look out of the patio doors onto the little bit of garden we've got, watch the birds. It's really nice. So win-win really, because I've ended up with this space. I do have a bed settee or a sofa bed in here so that it can be moved. And this table didn't have a space downstairs. It folds in half. The top folds in half and turns around, so I can make it smaller. But it wouldn't really fit in our front room. And this is amazing as a cutting table. So what I decided to do though was, I haven't actually got it downstairs. I have bunting and red, white, blue and dark kind of nautical colours, not the United Kingdom colours. I don't mean patriotic red, white and blue. I mean navy blue, light blue, red, nautical colours. And I'd realised I'd found some tea towels that I'd had for quite a while, and I thought, well, I can hang those around and just re-seaside myself up here. So that's one of the things. At the beginning of January, I have just sewn up a storm in January. My sewing habits are very up and down. I have the privilege of being self-employed, but also in semi-retirement. And the privilege, but the cost to that of if I don't work, I don't get paid. So again, it's those kind of things where you've got to manage, isn't it? So I can allocate myself quite a bit of time to sewing, but it's costly in that if I'm sewing, I'm not working. Anyway, this is just about who I am and what I'm doing, and I think you'd get a flavour of the fact that I'm bonkers, and I just love the bonkers way that sewing works for me. I like to learn. I like to investigate how things work. I like to challenge myself to see what I can do a bit differently, and so yes, so I did. I put a couple of these together, just made a quick sandwich. I've just got to bind it. I went and got some plain blue to bind it with, and I've got some little hangers to put them up, so that can go on the side of my wardrobe, just so it makes me feel like this is a nice cosy space. And I've tidied up my shelves a bit. We did look after my mum from 2018 to... Anyway, for 2 years she came to live with us. She did spend some of that time in care homes and nursing homes, but she had dementia, and we moved her in with us because she wasn't safe at home and she wasn't getting well looked after. So she came to live with us, and we had to empty her flat, and there are still some remnants of her things here, and on the top of the wardrobe, on the top of my shelves, I've still got some of her nice... Well, it was nice to... It's not my taste, but there are some of her meaningful pieces of ornaments and things. So while I've straightened out my shelves, and although I've got far too much plastic, I did have a lot of this before. It was hidden in cupboards, and it was a way of storing other things. I used to be a trainer, a tutor, and had lots of equipment and files and things, so I also have quite a few plastic things that I'm reusing that I haven't bought new of, but I've got lots of these that I used for my AO patterns, well, my PDF patterns. But I've created what I feel like is a nice colourful space behind me, but it's quite practical. So that's me for that bit. I'm just going to get up and check this video is running. Okay. So I just was checking that the video was running, and now I've probably moved the camera because I just had to play a little back to see if it was, and yes it is, but I may be in a different position, I don't know. I think I'm going to leave it there for now. I hope you will come back to me. I have had my channel for a couple of years now, it's just that I haven't done any Friday sews. The way I normally work, I'm quite spontaneous really, so if I've got something to say or something to show you, then I'll be on to do that. The way I buy fabric is not necessarily in a haul. The way I buy patterns is not necessarily in a haul. So I wouldn't typically do, this is my January makes, these are my February makes, this is what happened last year. I do occasionally do that, but I don't sew regularly enough, or sometimes I sew. I'm a very good procrastinator, and recently I procrastinated on making a little yellow boy. He started off as a little yellow boy for my grandson, and now he's turned into quite a big yellow person. And he finally got him in December, and there's a story to it. There is a video I've done for that explaining how I went about making him. Kind of why did it take me that long, I've no idea, but I got stuck several times and I couldn't manage it. But the day that I took him, Toby was so pleased with him. He took him from me, and he wanted this. It doesn't matter really how to explain. So he took him from me. He was so pleased. He went to get him some clothes. Within minutes he was dressed up, sat on the sofa with a Fitbit on his wrist, and dressed in big yellow blobby head and big black eyes, and his function is served. Over the week we were there. He's got very long arms, and the boys were under one arm on each side. It was just beautiful. So for me, that's what sewing is about. It's about to have been able to make a gift for someone who really knew what he wanted. I've managed to fit the bill. I'm not good at taking orders for anything. Like I say, I'm quite a spontaneous sewer, and it's about making people happy. This has made me happy. It's a silly thing. I hope it makes you happy, just in the fact that it's cheerful. I just started briefly to say that in January I sewed up a storm. So I started to make things to put around the place, just kind of a bit of home decor, my sewing room decor, to emphasise my seaside stitches, because I'm 3 minutes walk from the coast, from the sand, from the beach, and I just love that. Yes, so I made that, and then I decided on warmth now. So I'd sent for this fabric. I made these up. I made 2 of them kind of in tandem. I have also made a Billy sweater with the big puffy sleeves, the tilly and the buttons, Billy sweater, and also I'm making the pinafore. It's just what in the US I think they term as a jumper, but it's just kind of a shift dress, and bit 60s really, but with a bit longer hem, longer length, that I want to have over my Billy jumper, because again it's warmth. And these, as you may have noticed, the whole point of this is that I can wear another jumper under it. Under this I've got another layer, just kind of a base layer, my polar neck, which I've got loads of in different colours that I bought ones, that they are ready-made polos. I've got all sorts. I've had them for years and years, just built them up as they got new different colours in. So I've got one of those underneath. The Billy jumper is made in a bigger size so that I can wear a jumper under that. A base layer, a jumper, the Billy sweater, and then the pinafore dress. So I'm just trying to be practical, bright and cheery, and I hope to see you again soon. So I do hope you'll come back to my channel. If you'd like to subscribe, I'd be very grateful. I'd really enjoy it if you drop a comment. If you'd place a comment on my channel, I would be over the moon. That is worth more to me than whether you subscribe or not. So a thumbs up if you're happy with the video, and a comment would be great. And if other people comment, then conversations can start, can't they? So I'd love that, and I'd love to see you again. So Susan at Seaside Stitches, signing off from #Friday Sews on, oh, it's the first one in February. I think it's the 3rd of February 2023. Lots of love to you all. I hope your crafting and sewing or knitting or whatever you're doing goes well, and lovely to have met you. Bye for now.